Hey guys, my name is Danish and welcome back to my channel. And what a weekend we had over here with being at Baku and another street track after Monaco, which was a disaster for Mercedes. So let's just get into this race weekend. So the weekend was normal. I'll come to the race and how much it was of a snooze fest in the first half and just gave sucker punch after sucker punch in the second half, and it's a lot of excitement going on. But the moment we came into Baku, we already had a problem. That was Valtteri Bottas was stuck in Finland because of some flight issue, so he came I think a few hours late and he started his weekend already on a bad footing. Now coming on to practice sessions, so there was a few mistakes that are going on because everybody is trying to learn the new surface. Everybody's learning the grip levels because Baku is a smooth street track. It does not provide a lot of grip, and even the slightest amount of dust and all the leaves and the branches and everything from the wrapping papers to all of that garbage was coming onto the track, which was making life hell for all the drivers, and it was making it entertaining for us as viewers. So it was all of them going off, and there were runoff areas in most of the part, like turn 2, turn 8, turn 9 and all of that. But the turn 15 was the most difficult one because once you start turning in and then you lock your brakes, you have to go into the barrier, and we saw so many people go into the barrier. Leclerc went into the barrier, Verstappen went into the barrier, Stroll, Latifi and all of them went into the barrier, and it was building up to be some sort of an interesting thing, and we already had a red flag as well in FP3. Now coming on to qualifying in Q1 started, and we already lost Lance Stroll because he went and hit the barriers at turn 15. He lost his front right wheel assembly, linkages, suspension, everything broken. So that was fatality number 1, which was caused a yellow flag, and then session was stopped, and then again it was restarted, and then we lost Antonio Giovinazzi, who again hit the barrier I think at turn 8 or turn 9, somewhere right before the second straight, and again the session was red flag. So already 2 red flags in qualifying, and in the end we lost a few drivers. It was Stroll was already out, Gio was out, Nikita Mazepin, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi were out. George Russell made it into Q2 again this year, has a consecutive streak of coming into Q2 this year, and Mr. Saturday does not have to be named that because obviously he is top 15 material right now. And then Q2 began and everybody went out on softs, so none of them went out on the mediums because it was really risky, and the mediums were not a good race tire as well. It was always the hards that were a good race tire on this track, so we have to see how those panned out, and spoilers, it didn't pan out. Okay, now talking about Q2 again, we had I think Ricciardo crashed out or Norris crashed out. The McLaren crashed out in Q2 as well and brought out the red flag, and it brought out the red flag at what, 1.5 minutes before the session ended. So 1.5 minutes is not enough for the cars to get out of the pits and start the flying lap, so the session was completely stopped over there. And then in Q3 it was running normally. Everyone did their first runs, and in the second runs Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz crashed. So this was again at turn 2, and Yuki already had went into the barrier, and Carlos was really close by, and by the time he made the decision his brakes locked and he hit the front wing and lost the front wing, and he hit his rear as well. So that was stopped at what, 0.01 minutes. So just about 2 seconds before the flag was dropped, this incident happened and the qualifying was stopped and red flagged. So we had 4 red flags in this session. So this is also a record, matching some one race in 2016 to have 4 red flags in qualifying, and it's a record or something. But yeah, not a great start to the weekend to most of the runners, and the qualifying ended with Charles Leclerc at top, Lewis Hamilton P2, even though they were not in the top 5 in free practice and they were really struggling with the car, and this was the problem they had in Monaco as well, so it was something of an issue. And the other Mercedes was P10, Max Verstappen P3 as usual, top 3 material always, Pierre Gasly P4, good showing, Carlos Sainz P5, Lando P6, Sergio P7, Yuki P8 even though he crashed, Fernando P9, good showing from him, Seb P11 right out of the points, Esteban P12, Danny P13 really still has to learn about the car, Kimi P14, George and Latifi 15 and 16, and the 2 Haas boys at the back with Mick and Nikita 17 and 18, and Lance Stroll and Antonio crashed out, so not in the standings but 19 and 28. Now coming on to the race, So it was just about one strategy going on. It was all one stop, and everybody would stop at around lap 10 to lap 15 and then go on the hards and end the race on the hards. So Pirelli quoted the hards would go for 40 laps, so this was easy. 51 lap race, lap 11 to lap 15 was giving them about 40 laps of running, so within Pirelli's margin. So it was all well and good, and then it got boring. I mean boring. See, I have Ocon retires on lap 4, mechanical issue, loss of power, our first fatality of this race, one car down, 19 remaining. Now the top leaders were nice and running hard, but we always knew that Leclerc and this Ferrari did not have the pace in race pace to hold off Verstappen and Hamilton, and it happened the same way. Lap 3 Hamilton was already ahead, and then lap 7 Verstappen got ahead of Leclerc and Leclerc started dropping places. Then Perez overtook him the next lap, Gasly overtook him on lap 8, and then the pit stop started and everybody started pitting, and it was just a normal race. There were a few overtakes here and there all the way up till lap 31, and I was like this. Literally, I have tried to wake up and stay up in this race, but up till lap 31 I was just dozing. I did not have anything to take notes about, I didn't have anything to take screenshots about, I didn't have anything to make this somewhat of an exciting race to me, because it was everybody holding position, and the start finish straight is really long straight. It is 1.5 miles long, and the DRS is really powerful, and even without DRS the toe is really powerful, and you can gain about half a second even if you are 1.5 seconds behind, and you can come that close. But the sector 2 and sector 3 in the castle situation is where you lose time and you can't get close enough, and then only if you're close enough at the final 2 seconds, and then you can overtake them. And DRS, if you get DRS, it's a guarantee pass. If you don't get DRS, you have a guarantee of gaining half a second on to the person you're chasing, but you lose that half a second again and the rest of the lap, and again you're back to square one. But at least if you're within that 1.5 second range of the front car, you get some sort of a toe balance, and they don't peel away and go away from you in terms of overtaking and racing. So it was just a bit of a lull, it was just a bit of a cat and mouse thing, but it never was. The cat would always go in front of the mouse, so it was a mixed bag and it was really boring. But then lap 31 Stroll crashes on the start finish straight. There was nothing for him to hit. He didn't hit the barriers, he didn't hit a car, and it was just like that. And the left rear tire went, it either had a puncture or it burst or whatever happened. He lost it on the start finish straight and he went into the wall and he crashed. It was a scary thing, and it was a top speed thing as well. And yeah, now here were the questions that were coming up. Was the teams did not get any intimidation about the tire failing. So if the tire has a puncture, the teams can see it on their data and the pressures dropping and the balance moving about, and they can tell their drivers to pit or do something. But here it did not happen, and here the issue started with the finger pointing towards Pirelli and them not making a proper M time. It was all Silverstone all over again. You remember what happened in Silverstone last year. The tire started blowing up last year on the final 2 laps. We got Sainz blew up, Bottas blew up, Lewis blew up, and still won the race because he had such a lead. So it was a yellow flag and then red flag. It was a yellow flag but no red flag, but the pit lane was not open because the car was exactly on the pit lane entry, like what we had in Mugello, where it was the pit lane exit and also pit lane entry as well, I think. Yeah, so it was a lot of mix up and a lot of chaos, and that woke me up like that, and I started taking screenshots, making notes, writing down. And then after 4 laps the pit lane was opened and the midfield did pit for a new set of tires just for a safety stop, because they were already out of the points and it was not worth the risk to stay on the same tires and have a risk of blowing out and actually having damage to the car, which actually adds cost to their man. And currently F1 is going for a cost cutting measure and monitoring the cost expenses and all of that, so it was just a safety measure that was done by the smaller teams, but the major teams did not. It was a restart on lap 35. Verstappen pulled away nicely, all of them were normal, and then it was a lot of neck and neck running. Hamilton was still pushing Perez, and lap 47, so this is what, 4 laps from the end, Verstappen crashes on the start finish straight. He was doing 200 miles an hour. Same left rear tire, same blowout. Other 3 tires, nothing happened. Left rear, boom, start finish straight. 4 laps from the end and he was in the lead. He did not make any mistakes in qualifying. He was in P3, P3. He overtook everybody and he couldn't get the win, and he couldn't continue the capitalization of the points, and in terms of them leading the championship, they could have gotten a lot of points on this, and it was out. And Hamilton was there in P2 and he could have gained a lot of points and they could have come back into the championship lead. So he crashed out on the start finish straight, and the safety car took everybody through the pit straight. And this is where the red flag was called, because Red Bull called up to Michael Massey, the race director, and told him that they did not get any intimation of the tire failing. It would be best to call a red flag, and everybody changed their tire just for safety reasons, because I think even in their minds it was Perez in the lead. They wanted to preserve that and not have another risk of another blowout. Whatever it was still a safety concern, and they did red flag the session and clean out everything. And okay, so 2 laps left, lap 49. It was decided to be a standing start, so it's Perez in P1, Hamilton in P2, Leclerc P3. And in the middle of all of this, we had a investigation on Nicholas Latifi, because he did not go to the through the pits and went on the normal start finish straight, and when he was behind the safety car. And this was about the team radio issue, because when he called into the team radio and when they were speaking, they were like, stay out, stay out, stay out, this is not a normal pit stop. And Latifi was like, stay out, okay, I'll stay out. So he didn't enter the pits, where all the other cars were going through the pits behind the safety car, and the team had to take the blame on that, because they told him to stay out, and instead of just telling him come through the pits and don't pit, it would have been a better wording and better safe option. So that was, he got a penalty for that. And then everybody started on the grid. Hamilton's brakes were steaming, so much smoke pouring out, lights went out. Hamilton came ahead of Perez, and then he went straight through. Everybody had to turn right for turn 1. Hamilton went straight up. The thing was, he had the setting of the brake balance called the magic setting or something that they used behind the safety car to switch off the rear brakes and just have the front brakes being used to heat up the front tires and maintain temperature in the tire and everything like that. And he did switch it off before the start, but he bumped into it and he switched it back on by accident, and that will be something that Mercedes will look into and make it a bit more robust and not as easy to engage by a mistaken touch. So he just went straight through, and everybody went back normally to the left, and there were a few overtakes. Leclerc did try to overtake Gasly, and then he did take him in turn 1. Then Gasly came back in turn 3, and Gasly maintained his position and he came in his podium position. So Perez was P1, Vettel was P2, he was P4 before the Verstappen crash. Gasly P3, Charles Leclerc P4, Lando Norris P5, Alonso P6, Tsunoda P7, Sainz P8, and Danny Rick P9, and Kimi Raikkonen P10. And when I came down through this list, you can see that there isn't a Mercedes car over here. So Bottas started P10, he stayed P10 for most of the race, and then through the pits and all of that, he came in the end at P12. A really forgettable race for Bottas, and it did not work out for him. Giovinazzi was P11, good showing from him. Bottas P12, Latifi P13, Mazepin P14, Mick P15, and Hamilton P16, because he went straight through in the first corner and to rejoin at the rear of the pack. 2 laps left. How many overtakes could have been done? Because everybody was on used softs when they stopped the cars on the red flag. George Russell was P17, classified because on the final restart, and everybody did a standing start, when George Russell coming back to join the pack, his engine gave out and he just entered the pit lane and he had an engine failure. I think it was a transmission, but we don't know. Verstappen was also classified because just 3 laps. He just added as plus 3 laps. Stroll was out, crashed. Ocon retired in the beginning of the race. So the fastest lap was held by Verstappen and he retired, so he doesn't get the point. Nobody tried to do a faster lap on the final lap and nobody got it. So there's one lost point in the championship that nobody could receive this weekend. And Mercedes was the biggest loser here because both cars are out of the points. One car was in the lead for a moment and then nothing happened. Red Bull had a happy sad moment with Perez winning but Verstappen out. Aston Martin had Vettel on the podium, Stroll out. Alonso had a P6 good showing and Ocon out. Norris had a good showing and Danny Rick P9. Leclerc P4 from the lead. Sainz P8 from P6. Not a lot of winners there. Gasly and Tsunoda were winners from AlphaTauri because P3 and P7, good points for them. And Kimi P10. Bwah. So yeah, that was this race weekend's rundown. So the starting of the race was boring and then it was punch behind punch behind punch, and the last 20 laps was interesting to say the least. And even though it's a street track and it's still a good fun track to be on, I will always want to watch Baku because of the large start finish rate and the overpoweredness of the DRS, and over here it is always fun to watch. Also, we got sad news this weekend that Mansoor Ojeh, who was a part owner of McLaren, the whole parent company of McLaren Racing and McLaren Automotive Company, passed away, and he was a big part of the McLaren family. So my condolences to his family and to the McLaren team. I guess that's the end of this video. If you like this video, give this video a like, get subscribed to my channel, and ring the bell icon over here to receive notifications of all of my videos. And as always, stay home, stay safe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.